Welcome to GA235 Corporate Identity. This is week 2. This week we are going to discuss branding process. Some of the objectives for this week are going to be better understand the branding process or the process of branding, become familiarized with vocabulary common to the branding process, gain an appreciation for a successful brand strategy, concept, application, and implementation process. Key terms and concepts are going to be brand strategy, brand essence and differentiation, brand architecture, creative brief, design brief, concept, application, and implementation. So stages of the branding process. We have strategy, concepts, application, implementation. Those are your kind of main categories. But as we kind of look down at this graphic here, you can kind of break it down into 5 steps. So the first one is going to be the preparation stage, also the strategy, also the analysis. Some of these terms can be used interchangeably, but in the preparation stage is where you're going to do a lot of your research. You're going to meet with the company and find out more information about them, gather all the information from them, from all the stakeholders, and try to come up with some overall objectives and overall goal in terms of what the brand should look like and what the brand essence and all that should be. And throughout there, you get that main goal, and you can move on to the next stage. And this is going to be taking all that information, trying to make sense of it all, and put together, a good strategy for going forward. So that's why I think strategy could be potentially steps 1 and 2 combined. Then we have step 3, which would be define. So you come up with your objectives, differentiation. As you look through all the other similar brands, how can you differentiate yourself from them, your credibility, personality, and you start to develop your brand positioning statement. As you move on to step 4, which is implement, this is where your communication strategies come into play. You start to figure out all the things that are needed, advertisements, logos, other types of graphics, things like that. Once that has all been figured out, then you can move on to the create stage, which is basically doing the fun work of getting into Photoshop or Illustrator and actually sitting down and making those branding graphics. Now keep in mind with this as well is there's changes that go on along the way. So whether that would be really major changes or a bunch of little changes over time, it's an evolution process all the way up until the end. Stages of the branding process. 1 would be strategy. So brand strategy is the core tactical underpinning, uniting all thinking for every brand application. So as you can kind of see here, where there's various different types of materials that are kind of put together and thought about up front beforehand so that the end result kind of is effective to the overall brand and to their audience. Stages of the branding process strategy. The brand strategy defines the brand's personality, defines the brand promise, acts to differentiate a brand or group from the competition, and codifies the brand essence. As you can kind of see here, all of these can be kind of put together into a triangle in a sense here that basically, shows you all the things that kind of make up that brand strategy. So if we read each one of these little texts here, we have the essence of the brand at the very top. It says the one word or phrase that describes the unique value that you deliver. And then the middle purple one, the positioning, it says a statement of uniquely delivered value for your core market segments and the key proof of delivery. On the left, we have values and character, what you believe in, how you behave, and what you stand for. And then on to the right, value proposition, the unique ways that you deliver the value through your products, services, places, spaces, and people. Stages of the branding process, strategies continued. Brand strategy is a conceptual plan providing guidelines for both client and creative professionals. The brand strategy positions a brand or group to achieve differentiation, relevance, and resonance. The definition of brand essence. The essential points or aspects of a brand or group condensed into a central core concept brought to life through the branding application. As you can kind of see here, looks like we have a clothing line in the clothing store. Notice the logo, it's red and white with a bunch of different kind of paisley type of graphics, certain types of text. As you can kind of see, that is implemented throughout the whole store using all the different graphics and just being consistent in the overall look and kind of, creating that whole environment and everything around it as that brand essence. Stages of the branding process would be the strategy goal. A goal is to differentiate, establish a difference between your brand and the competition. And we can most definitely see this really clearly at any store that we go into where there's a number of different types of products and they're all fighting for your attention and they all have their own different type of look. We see this in the soda pop industry, that's grown to having a lot of different competitions and flavors and such like that. How do you make yours stand out among the rest? As you can kind of see, they do it with their packaging, their colors, their text, even the color of the soda itself. We all know orange soda is orange, but then within orange soda, we have various different types of brands. So as you can see with the Sunkist, I'm looking at the bottom right and left corner, actually, you see them both. They have the big blue text that kind of pops out from the orange because that color, I would think, would be chosen because those are complementary colors. Orange and blue are complete opposites, which means they have the most contrast, which means both of them can emphasize each other. So that would be some of the things that they think about when they're trying to differentiate from others. And again, you have to do some research and look at the other competition as well so that you can find out how you can make yours different than theirs. Stages of the branding process. Strategy goal. Develop brand architecture. Brand architecture is the analysis of the company's brands and their interdependencies, including structuring how all their values can be maximized at every level of the company and throughout the strategic positioning of the brand. So these are maybe for larger companies that have multiple products or companies within the company, and it's a way of being able to differentiate all those little companies but still be able to show the consumer that it's all a part of one company. So as you can kind of see here with the FedEx on the bottom left here, FedEx is your main big company, but within that they have FedEx and then the freight or office and things like that. And so again, they're using the same logo, they're just changing the EX color so that you can kind of see how that architecture has been played out. You could see that as well with Apple too, the way that they are still using their Apple symbol. It's just they have different text that describes each of their different products.